Pro Roanoke returns to the Star City where the Blue Ridge and Allegheny Mountains meet in Roanoke, Virginia. Tonight, Red Hot rider Justin McDaniel begins his quest for a fourth straight bareback championship buckle. In bull riding, McKenna Wimberly has 2 wins and a second place this season. At In Saddle Bronc, it's shaping up to be a showdown between last season's top 2 riders. The Pro Roanoke Roanoke Challenge starts right now. We're at the Roanoke Civic Center in downtown Roanoke, Virginia, a beautiful city here in Appalachia. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roanoke Challenge. I'm Justin McKee, and it's an honor to welcome our newest member to the broadcast team, Cord McCoy. A lot of folks know you from the amazing race, and you've been all over the world to get right here today.
I've been around the world a couple of times, but you know, the funny thing about it is, for 20 years before that, I carried a rigging bag around trying to make a living. So, you know, I've had a little experience, and my favorite thing in the world to talk about is the 3 rough stock events. So it is such an honor to be here today at the Pro Rough Stock Series.
Well, I know you have ridden barebacks, saddle broncs, and bulls at the highest level, and we're looking forward to your expertise there. And world champion bareback rider Kelly Timmerman, it's good to have you back here in the booth with us.
Man, I'm excited to be here in the booth. It's a lot better than chasing around the Broncs in the arena.
Well, Kelly, let's talk about a guy who has got a lot of people's blood pumping with excitement, and that is Justin McDaniel, the PRS reigning world champion.
Yeah, it's something about drawing good. You know, the quality horses that we bring are pretty consistent, so everybody has a chance to win. But when you ride the caliber of Justin McDaniels, it takes a ton of athleticism to stay at top. And hey, he's going for number 4 this weekend.
All right, let's see if he can win 4 in a row. Right now, let's look at the bareback riding standings so far this season. As you can see, Justin McDaniels is dominating. So let's get right to the bareback riding, and George Gillespie out of Elgin, Oregon is on a horse from Ladding Rodeo here in Roanoke called Angel Freeze.
Yeah, this is one thing in bareback riding we talk about, consisting the control of that start. George has got a great start. You can see how he kind of spurred over that horse's neck in the middle. Kind of cost that horse to get away from him a little bit, but really a strong spur ride all across the arena.
Now, besides from being from Oregon, what's another reason people from other states would pull for this guy?
Well, you know, just the quality and the caliber of this young man. He's a professional athlete, but at the same time, he's a decent human being. But look at the strength and the power of that horse putting on his body out across there, and how he was able to stay in contact with those feet and make a complete spur stroke to that rigging handle.
Well, the goal is to be in the top 4 to move on to next week's show. He's an 80.5. He'll set the pace. Now we'll go to Tyler Nelson out of Victor, Idaho. Ladding Rodeo brings us a horse called Jake. And what can you tell us about Tyler Nelson?
This is a young guy just starting out in his rodeo career, probably his 2nd year going, kind of a rookie with us. He's got a great start, just like a lot of these young guys. It's very important. Got classy feet. You can see there towards the end that horse kind of got in the fence and cost him a little bit, but he was a little bit tight with that riding leg. That's the right leg or the left leg on that side.
Yeah, Cord, you know horses right there, and the horse is going over in that corner. That's not ideal.
Well, it kind of gets you gathered up there. I mean, like Mom always said, it's a judged event. You got to look good, and that horse didn't give him the best view there in the corner when the whistle's blowing. And a guy, as a bareback rider's got to finish strong. I mean, Kelly knows that. They're looking at that last jump most.
He'll take the lead, 81.5. Tyler Nelson out of Victor, Idaho. Now to a top 10 rider so far this season out of Alabama. Blade Elliott is his name. Charlie's Angel from Painted Pony Rodeo. Here's last year's Roanoke champion. He's the defending champion here in Roanoke.
Yeah, Blade is one of those guys that we talked about that, you know, he's a young guy coming out, working really hard. If he'd had a little bit of a stronger start there, that horse wouldn't have got away from him. He wouldn't have had to hustle so long in that ride.
Cord, let's talk about how that can really set up the rest of the 8 seconds.
Well, it is just like Kelly says. That horse kind of faded just a little bit right there about the 3rd jump, and he got tipped over away from his hand, and it kind of cost him 1 foot there. You know, they're judging both sides. So you got to keep both feet going the whole time.
Charlie's Angel. Hey, speaking of Charlie's Angel, you got to meet one of the Charlie's Angels at the airport. airport.
I did. I got to meet Cheryl Ladd there. That was an accomplishment for me. I never thought I'd never meet a Charlie's Angel.
Yeah, and here's the
Real deal.
She wanted his autograph because she's a fan of the Amazing Race. I know,
course.
like everybody does. Here's Cody Demers. Lovely Lexi from Painted Pony is a superstar bucking horse.
Yeah, this is a horse they've won about every round on when she's out. I've always had seen her come back to the left, but here she goes to the right, and I tell you, she's kind of bucking a little bit. Cody had to bear down and really go at that horse. When they're moving away from your hand, it wants to whip you down, and he did a good job just staying in the middle of her.
Last year, Josie Young was 85 on this horse here in Roanoke, and Cody had to have some fast feet.
He did. You know, you see that horse just stick his old head right between his legs there. What does that feel like there, Kelly?
You know, and those feet are even when they're blowing up off the ground, the front end. That just makes them fun to ride. That's a good riding horse right there.
Another lead change, 82.5 as we go to the man, trying to win his 4th event in a row. Here's the reigning PRS World Champion, Justin McDaniel on Little Big Man. He needs a 79 or better to make the Final Four, Wrangler Final Four round.
We see how that start, he was so solid, that horse had those moves, didn't even bother him, didn't move his front end, didn't lose those feet in his neck. Just stayed real controlled through all of that and made a really consistent ride.
I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Is he going to make the top 4, Gordon?
Oh, he looks good. He's getting everything he can out of the horse, just like Kelly was mentioning. Watch this horse switch leads about 3 times right at the first. I mean, he's asking Justin to mess up, and he never flawed.
Well said. He's a man on fire, and he is going to take the lead here in Roanoke. 84 points. He could be 1 horse away from winning his 4th straight event. But he's got to sweat the guy that was in front of him most all last year, Josie Young, on a Painted Pony rodeo horse called Chad. All Josie needs is an 81 to make the Wrangler Final Four round.
This horse here weighs all of 1,500 pounds. He's a giant. Comes around, circle around to the right. Big jumps, good spurt. Kind of want to set him up there a little bit with that hind end kicking so hard, but Josie just stayed in there and kind of weakened at the end, but still made a pretty decent ride up to that point.
Kind of a different horse compared to the rest of it.
He was just kind of like Kelly was mentioning. That horse is big and heavy and slow and not helping your feet near as much. You almost have to just force it. You can tell when he gets to the end there, he's just having to drive everything he gets out of that horse.
Well, he really moves ahead, quits kicking there at the end. Will it be enough? Needs an 81. Here's the man who made almost every Final Four round last year. Oh, he's got it, 82.5. There you have Justin McDaniel on top of the leaderboard again. Let's hear from the reigning champ.
Feels good to get on a roll again. It's been a while, and I'm just having a blast. I got a good horse in the short round, and I'm ready to win.
So congratulations to J-Mac. We'll see how it goes next week. Now coming up, Shane Rickley will be looking to ride into the Final Four round and get a shot at his 2nd career gold buckle. But he'll have to get past one of Jerome Davis's star bucking bulls, Boogity Boogity. He may be in for the ride of his life next. Welcome back to the Roanoke Civic Center here in Virginia for the PRS Roanoke Challenge. It's time for the top 4 spots in bull riding. And as you see, the season leaders, John Jacobs and McKenna Wimberly, they've been flip-flopping back and forth in that number 1 and number 2 spot. They've got tough bulls here today, but I want to talk about another matchup. Shane Rickley has got a bull that's pretty famous.
His name is Boogity Boogity, and you would guess who that partner is on that bull. Darrell Waltrip, a famous NASCAR man, and Jeff Hammond are partners on this bull, so I'm guessing he's going to go fast.
By the way, you say Boogie Boogie, but you say that really good. Let's get to the rides. So our first matchup is John Jacobs, the bull, come from Jerome Davis. Loco Toro is the name of this bull.
I tell you what, he starts with a high jump there. That bull is just not helping him very much, but he's making a good ride getting around there.
You know, the first jump was wild, and he got him gathered up. The second jump didn't take him no time at all to get him back gathered up.
It did, but you know, it's kind of that bull. He kind of wanted a good picture there right off the bat. But the bull kind of starts away from his hand there, and I've been in that position where you'd almost just need to get loose and go to that bull instead of just hanging on.
That's the number 1 rider this season from Timberlake, South Dakota. He was 2nd in Jackson. He rode 2 and finished 2nd in Lexington. He won Rapid City. What a year he's had. Now let's go to Shane Rickley and Boogity Boogity.
We get to see Tiffany Davis back there flanking these bulls. You talk about love them bulls. Tiffany takes care of them like their own kids.
She's always got a house full of kids, too, and I know they're watching right now, so a big shout-out to the Jerome Davis Ranch and all their protégés running around there. I've never been to their house and wasn't a house full of people.
No, there's always a herd there. You know, that's the first time I've seen NASCAR go right, though. That's pretty amazing there.
Yeah, that's right. Shane Rickley, he was the 2011 IPRA World Champion, top 5 in 2012 in the PRS. He gets there, and a score is a good one. 86 for Shane Rickley. Now let's go to Trent Cormier from Houma, Louisiana. Here's the number 7 rider this season, and he's got Freak Show. We're going to see freaking all over the place here. Why is that? A lot of names of these bulls.
You know, they got a bull called Super Freak that is also, he's been to the PBR finals 3 times, but has been producing great bulls too. So a lot of their bulls go back to him. Oh man, he kind of got a bad show. You see that bull kind of stumbling the back end. It almost kind of messed up his timing, and you can see a little short guy like Trent got him the end of his arm quick, and ooh, them horns come fast.
Boy, Kelly, he was really had to work towards the front end of that bull to stay up on his bull rope.
Yeah, he needed a bareback rig.
Yeah, no kidding.
And a mouthpiece there at the end.
You know, that Trent, though, he never quits. That's one of those guys that he just goes and gets that second effort, that third effort, and, you know, that's what keeps him in the standings.
There's your scoreboard. Rickley in the lead with an 86. We're looking for the top 4 for the Wrangler Final Four showdown round in next week's show. Here's Jordan Cottle from Lexington, North Carolina on Jerome Davis's Who's Your Daddy?
Oh, he definitely had his blinker on right there. I think he knew what was going to happen, too, because he was looking left before they even opened the gate.
Oh, no! Oh, he's going to get a score.
Oh, you got to go all the way.
I thought he was going to come up short. How did he not finish that off stronger? What happened? He had all the tough stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes your mind's counting to 8 for you, and sometimes it counts a little fast. And I'm guessing that because the bull made the same jump over and over again, you think if you make it around the corner, you can finish it. But looked like he got a score.
He's going to get a score, but he's going to lose a lot of points there because of that finish was not strong. 78 points for Jordan Cottle. Now let's go to Mississippi. Kenny Westrup is on a bull from Jerome Davis called Hercules.
This is another good bull of Jerome Davis. You know, at one end to the other, he's making a good ride. Go ahead.
He's got some juice right here. He's got some juice.
Yeah.
And a little bit of pulp right there, too.
Well, he did different than the last guy, too. You know, he finished the ride. He knew that he had to go all the way. It's always good when the guy can hear the whistle and pull his tail and step off. It kind of makes bull riding a little safer.
Can he beat the 86 on Boogity Boogity with Shane Rickley? Boy, he is solid up on that rope. And we've got an 83-point ride. Now to a man who won 2 events last year. He's number 12 in this year's season standings. Sevy Totoro out of Wayne, Oklahoma. He's on Fired Up from Jerome Davis.
This is another good bull of Jerome's. You know, this Fired Up bull, he'll get it on. He'll give you a chance to win if your guy can just, get back over there. He lost his rope there around before that. You see that?
Got him kind of strung out halfway through the ride, and he was just trying to monkey up. And, you know, he can do that. He can survive another jump or two, and a lot of guys couldn't. He gets up on those legs.
When you lose that rope at 4 seconds, you're a long ways from the whistle. You see he lost that. He was still humping over like he could get to the whistle, but we're still a couple seconds from hearing the horn. I think right there when he just backdoored one time, I think that rope already went to his fingers. You know, it looked like he was still in good position, lost the rope. It kind of happened the jump before.
6.1 on the clock as we go to the number 2 man. We talked about the race this year between 1 and 2, John Jacobs and McKenna Wimberly. Here's Wimberly right now. Last year's PRS World Champion. He won Jacksonville this year. He was 2nd in Rapid City, and he's on Hoo-Hoo from Jerome Davis.
Oh, yeah. He that bull picked the wrong direction there going into McKenna Wimberly's hand. He's hot right now, and I think, like Kelly was talking earlier in the bareback riding, that confidence, you know, even if you don't draw the right bull, that confidence carries over and helps you ride.
I mean, rode him dead easy. Now the question is, will he beat the 86?
Well,
no doubt in the top 4.
McKinnon almost made that bull look too easy. You know, good to ride.
Dominated him.
Yeah, a guy like me get on him could actually make that bull look ranker.
84 points for McKinnon, so he'll make it to next week's show and the Wrangler Final Four showdown round. So here's your leaderboard with Shane Rickley's 86 holding up amongst a lot of pressure from McKenna Wimberly and Kenny Westrup. Jordan Cottle also slipping in to the Final Four round. When we come back, Saddle Bronc riders will take the reins. Welcome back to the 2014 Roanoke Challenge in Roanoke, Virginia. We're ready for Saddle Bronc riding, and Kelly Timberman, only 4 can make it to the Wrangler round next week. How about you load the chutes for us?
You know, today we've got a couple of my favorite bronc riders, Court Shear and Heath Danger DeMoss. Heath has actually got the horse that I picked in the bronc riding prior to this event, Shasta Painted Pony. This is a black and white horse that just circles around to the left and is very rider friendly.
All right, before we get to our first ride, let's go to the current PRS World Standings where young Rusty Wright is leading. Let's head to the Bronco Depot, and Curtis Garton from Lake Charles, Louisiana is on Repo Man. Here's a man that won first at Jacksonville this year. He's number 6 in the standings.
This horse is really going to want to move down the pin, gets a hard start out of there, and you can see how he's just really taking long jumps down the pin. Kind of setting up, kicking hard. Going to be a good score towards the end of that ride.
Yeah, that horse is pretty strong towards the end.
He was. You know, like Kelly said, it took him a little bit to get his ride built, but when it finished, he was facing the judges and in time spurring every jump right at the end when it counted.
You can see how he's just a little bit behind right there, he's really hustling, trying to get to the front end. And as that horse comes around, you can see that picket man bring him in, starting to short him up, and look how hard that horse is kicking. That really boosts the score.
And you can see the longer into the ride, the longer his spur stroke got. He finished off really good, 80 points for Curtis Garton. J.T. Hitch from Stylesville, Indiana. What a hometown name for a bronc rider. Timing is everything. He has got the style. Oh, nice. He's gone. He's out of there. That's Bubba from Painted Pony Rodeo, and Bubba was bringing the beat down on JT.
We've seen this horse quite a few times. He's really strong. You can see about the third, fourth jump here, he gets a lot of rein from him. As soon as that rein goes, he just loses his stirrups and gets flat bucked off.
Gordon, if you don't have your feet up front, you're going to take a beating.
It does, and I'm telling you, when you come down on that saddle, it is pure wood, and it hurts. It'll leave bruises.
It'll frog you up. And no score for JT Hitch. He's been struggling this year. Let's go to the number 7 man and the reigning PRS World Champion, Court Shear. One of the matchups we've been looking forward to. Trashy Trevor from Painted Pony Rodeo.
Boy, he had a big turnout right there. Kind of smashed him, it looked like, in the chute. Could have been a foul, but Court just lifted up under his rein. It was a cowboy and went at him and made a really solid ride.
You know, I've been saying that for the last year, this guy rides from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. From the top of his ears, and look at him, really work that upper body clear down to the bottom of that ride.
He is hustling. Just, you know, that horse wrapped him around the post there, and you could see the pain in his face when it hit, but he just gritted it out and spurred him every jump.
I know those chutes weigh about 3,500 pounds apiece, and he rattled those chutes.
they hadn't moved yet either.
Yeah, and Kelly unloaded them by hand, so he knows exactly how much they weigh. As you take a look at our leaders, Shear now in the lead with an 82.5. As we go to the Abilene, Kansas Cowboy, Keegan Knox on Harry Potter.
This is a horse they buck in the barebacks too, and he is massive also, weighs probably a good close to 1,500 pounds, and kind of stalled right out of there, but you could just see the power in the front end of that animal.
Young Keegan has got more than he bargained for, but he didn't lose the straw. He still got
still got a straw. He did better than I would do with the straw. You know, I think a little bit is just timing. You see right there, it kind of was out of time to start with, and that horse, you think he's heavy. If you're out of time with him, it's gonna jerk them swells away from you.
No score. So let's go to Heath DeMoss. Well, all he needs is an 83 to take the lead. The last time we saw him was at the PRS World Finals, where he got on Juculator and scored a whopper 90.5. Here comes Heath. He is hanging on and getting some points.
He's so aggressive and goes so fast, it almost looks like the horses are in slow motion at times. That's the funnest part about watching Heath. He is all adrenaline, all about his rides. True showman, and he loves what he does.
He's staying ahead of that horse.
He is. He's jumping at that saddle. You can tell as it comes around. There's a gap. You can see light under a saddle. He's just jumping at him, trying to get a hold of him.
Yeah, 84.5. That's the highest score on Shasta. That's the highest score right here in Roanoke as well. He will take the lead. Now, here's the man who is number 3, J.J. Elsher. He's on BB from Painted Pony.
Woo, BB had a couple really hard jumps out there, had a swoop kind of to the left. And old Mr. Consistency, JJ, he just lifts on his rein, keeps his chin down, stays up under those swells, and makes a great bronc ride.
He has 6 career wins in the PRS, more than any other saddle bronc rider. In Lexington, he won the long go and was 86.5 in the short go and won the average there. And looks pretty solid here, Corey.
He is, you know, and you got to say that because when you got that many wins in a row, you're getting on all these different styles of horses, and to make all of those different styles of horses look good shows your talent.
So far, so good for the number 3 rider this season, 80.5 for J.J. Elsher. Final four riders headed to next week's show in the Wrangler Final Four Showdown. Heath DeMoss has got a pretty good lead over Court Shear and a whole lot of energy.
Well, she turned out there to the left and just jumping and hopping and being awful nice, and just tried to take advantage of it the best I could.
Still to come from here in Roanoke, we'll preview the matchups for next week's Wrangler Final Four Showdown round. We're back in Roanoke, Virginia, and here's a Final Four matchup recap for next week's show. Take a look at the bareback riding here, Kelly. Who do you like?
Justin McDaniel has drawn a horse, a painted pony called Universal Media Mama Don't Know. This horse is unridden in the saddle bronc riding, and I don't know if anybody's ever ridden him in the bareback riding.
As to go to bull riding, Cord, who do you like?
Well, I got to go with Kenny Westrope, and not just because of him, but his bull, Super Freak, been to the PBR Finals 3 times, and actually this bull is the sire to the other 3 bulls in the championship round here, so it's going to be good watching.
Saddle bronc riding, my goodness, we've got some superstars coming back in the Final Four.
J.J. Elsher, I mean, model of consistency, like we say. This guy is almost unstoppable in the PRS, the bronc ride. A very tight race when it comes in the Final Four in the bronc riding.
And our Kershaw cutting-edge performance highlight of the night. Cord, who do you like?
Well, I just like saying boogity boogity. I got to go with Shane Richley. You know, this is a good ride. It kind of made it look false. The bull just kept kicking and kept coming around, and he just kept waving away from his hand and made it look good and puts him in the lead.
There's nothing like the best ride, and there's nothing like a Kershaw. And our John Deere big buck of the night. And it'll go to our top performing animal. And Kelly, tell us who you got.
I picked Harry Potter in the bronc ride, and this is a big, stout horse. The thing is, that horse right there doesn't have any dirty trips. He just bucks.
Big buck of the night is sponsored by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Next week, a Wrangler Final Four Showdown round from here in Roanoke. For Cord McCoy and Kelly Timberman, I'm Justin McKee. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.